All right, welcome back. The boys are back, and we're gonna be talking about some topics that are actually in the news recently. The boys are back. Obviously, that's a major topic. We're gonna be talking about MGK's tattoos, Star Wars, and the new director, and some wild stuff that's going on. Also, Bitcoin. It's been pumping, so we'll be talking a little bit about that and some other new exciting things. What else are we gonna talk about, John? Was there something else?
I think those are the main.
Those are the main ones, but something pops up. Just keep along.
Let's go, bro. We're gonna just talk about some wild shit. Why are we even here?
And then
bro?
also, main topic in Google searches right now is why did Seb move to Colombia?
Top search.
Top search.
Maybe not Google, but in everybody else's mind. Why are we even here right now, man?
Yeah, let's talk about it, man.
Why I think less important is how good it feels to be back, bro. I fucking love this place.
It's good. It's the greenery, the weather is just phenomenal every day. Obviously, there's beautiful people walking around. We were just talking about the fact that there's not really many obese people. You might have a little bit of overweight people every now and then, okay? But the difference is like the amount of obese people you'll just see in the United States and even Canada is just like every 4 people. You're like, this person literally can't even walk more than 20 feet, and this is a very walkable city.
And like, even besides obesity, I think America, on the American side, like definitely obesity is rampant, but like Canada, North American people just aren't as happy as the people are here in South America. And like just coming here from Canada, it was cold, like okay, the weather's better, but like the energy of this place is uplifting and the culture is built in a way, it's experienced in a way where people are happy, they're festive. Like they may not have all the money in the world, and that's not we see it here. It's not the correlation for happiness, and they're happy, they're pleasant, they're smiling, they want to connect, they want to go out, they want to have a good time. And so I think that here, the culture, people are optimizing for quality of life as opposed to just getting the biggest bank account or like having the biggest whatever and being angry about it the whole time. Like it's such a dumb way to prioritize your life, but when we come here, you can feel that. You can just feel the quality of life is better.
We literally can lean into that talking about MGK's tattoo and like his new music, right? Like I didn't see this. John pulled up his like tattoo. If you don't know, Machine Gun Kelly has this like major tattoo, like his whole upper body and his arms are completely black.
He's going through something.
He's going through something, but like we've almost created this person as a hero. And I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything like that, but it's like he needs to come out and like tell people like, do not idolize me. Like I'm going through shit. Like listen to my lyrics. Like do not idolize my life. My life is a mess. And that's the message. I think most people like they're trying to idolize and create heroes out of people that don't have it together. When we're creating this like this thing, we're saying, hey, this is what the hero should look like. And I don't think that's what it is. Like here, a hero could be the guy that's driving the Uber and going home to his family at night, and happy.
But here's the thing. This is the thing about the mass consciousness is that people, like, the right thing, the good thing isn't attractive. It's not exciting, right? So like the hero who just takes care of his family, drives Uber and goes home and makes sure food's on the plate, that's not something exciting to the masses, right? And so I talk about this in branding that like when you actually share hardship and you share like crazy chaotic stuff, like an example I was sharing just recently with a client, trying to break down the importance of having life be part of what you do as opposed to just being the one thing, right? And I was like, imagine you're like a sales guy and you have a sales operation, a sales organization, and you just post business. And then you go through some traumatic, horrendous accident, and then all of a sudden that's what's on the feed. Now people are like, oh my God, this guy's going through this horrendous thing. And it's like he's in the fucking hospital bed, comments are going crazy, people are like, are you gonna be okay? Blah, 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 blah. And then that person now starts talking about their overcoming, or like, what's gonna happen? I don't know what's gonna happen to the business. The family's all distraught, they don't know what's happening. People are tuned into chaos. Right? And I know you love the chaos analogy, and it's the chaos that people are attracted to because their lives are mundane. And so when it is not done intentionally, people will actually become and attract chaos and like live in chaos to get that attention if they're not intentionally creating something that people can buy into and be excited by in like a manufactured controlled chaos, right? And so like when it comes to people like MGK and like these celebrities who have built a business, literally a business that incentivizes them to be fucked up, there's no reason for them to get better because their whole livelihood and well-being is centered around them having something going on. And whether it's intentional or not, like that's, we don't know, like I don't know them personally enough to say, but like it will perpetuate and it will get worse. And then if you kind of get caught in that slipstream of like being that fucked up person for the public, and like that's like your path that you pull to like continue your personal development, it's just gonna get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think that's why we actually see a lot of like the 27 Club or whatever it is, like 29 Club? 27 Club, yeah, all these people, these musicians or whatever that are dying at a young age, they were incentivized to opt out. They were incentivized to create or to die and like have these fucked up life experiences because the public just likes it.
It's just like, if you think about it, it's like the most selfish thing you can do. Because you're like,
in what sense? Like,
well, like if you're taking, like you take your own life, right? It's like very selfish.
Some of them weren't suicide though. They just overdosed. Like they just kept going. They just kept hitting the button until they just expired.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know the situation, but I'm saying in general though, when it becomes to a point where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna keep perpetuating this emotion of attention, but like you never dig deeper into like what actually makes me feel good, you know? Because it's like, it's a dopamine hit, right? Yeah, of course, like it probably feels amazing if you go on stage and a whole bunch of people are just like singing along with you, but then like, I know I've heard a lot of people that are like musicians, like you can literally read like the books of people that are there before, like there's paths that you can read from, and they're like, yeah, like you get off stage and like you can't really connect to people because you're like so out of your realm of
just like wired off.
Yeah,
of
you're
like
so wired, and you're like,
well,
well, now like, well, what is actually like what actually feels good? So like you're always chasing this high versus like a more a longer lasting high. So like a dopamine is a very like short rush, right? But like there's many chemicals, like there's dopamine, there's serotonin, there's oxytocin, and then like the serotonin one is the one that's like more long lasting. It's like, okay, well, a serotonin, release is like, oh, I'm with my friends, I'm having a deep conversation, I'm actually connecting. And if you're only seeking like that one drug, well, the other half of the equation is missing. So like you're only going to be getting those boosts of dopamine.
The high highs, the low lows, and like a short time in between. So it's very volatile. I agree with that. And then like even on top of that too, like depression becomes a strategy for a lot of people. Like if you realize that you go into these fucked up states, like there's like, I don't know if you've had this experience, but like there's your emotions and then there's the version of you, your entity that observes the emotions, the operating like consciousness, right? And so if someone learns from their surroundings or from whatever it is that they've done, maybe it's their upbringing, like if they like cry, their parents would come and nurture them or whatever, like if they learn that depression or like sort of debilitating states are a strategy to get what they want, which is love, affection, like camaraderie, like income, if you're fucking a crying artist, your operating mind will now activate that as a strategy and manufacture circumstances to perpetuate it, which then like some people maybe aren't that Machiavellian where they're consciously operating it, but on a subconscious level it continues. And then these are people that like are impossible to help because they're actually utilizing a strategy, and it just appears to be like in deficit where they're like, oh, I'm so fucked up, or I can't do this, blah, 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 blah. But their operating mind is like, we do this for the outcome, and this is like, it's like a calculated operation, right?
That's literally what virtue signaling is, right? So like virtue signaling is, and because it's a very short term, like release of the things that we truly desire, right? Which is the connection, the feeling good and feeling respected, all this other stuff. So if I virtue signal that, I'm part of this group, well, I get the love, the affection, the admiration from that group in the short term, right? It's a very short term, like, oh, okay, well, I'll get that short term release because I basically just aligned with their values. And in the long term, it really didn't actually connect to it because
like it wasn't the thing itself, it was the outcome of the thing that they were operating for.
They were operating from just trying to connect to a belief that somebody else. So if I just say that, oh, that thing is correct, and then I make you feel like you're connected with my beliefs too, so now we can connect together. But like, it hasn't been tested to the marketplace.
We're seeing quite a few movements going on about this exactly.
And that's what we're talking about now, leading into like the Star Wars thing, right? This is where like the woke culture of like, well, we start demonizing certain people and certain thoughts, and thinking our thoughts are better than other people's thoughts. But we're trying to have empathy, but empathy is actually allowing other people in versus like closing people off. And like now, because you say like, speaking about Star Wars, the new director basically said she's trying to intentionally make men feel uncomfortable watching Star Wars, which like that is like the entire demographic of the people that watch Star Wars. Like,
the entire franchise is funded by men who are nerds about Star Wars.
So like, and it has nothing against her. It's like she's trying to virtue signal to the woke crowd, saying, we as a woman of color can take charge and be directors of this big franchise and change it completely, but like,
or rather kill it entirely in the name of wokeism.
Well, and that's the thing. So it's like, okay, but in her small community, in her group, like, oh, that's so amazing. Yes, be you, girl. But like,
she's being rewarded for the
she's
actions.
being rewarded, right? She's being rewarded for that. She obviously got the gig. She got paid a large amount. But then what's going to happen is, I mean, this is an assumption, but I promise you, I mean, on my opinion, I don't think it's going to do as well as the previous Star Wars before, right?
I'm open to seeing it do well, just because like the world is in such a strange place that a bunch of people are going to see it just to see what the fuck they did, like how they butchered the movie. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I'm open to seeing it work. Would I do that personally? No, but
and that's the thing. So it's like, okay, well, right now we're still in a stage of, in this specific situation, she was being rewarded for a thought, and the thought isn't really aligned with what we believe to be true with the fan that is going to actually obtain the objective success of the movie. Like we were talking about before, the objective success of the movie is people like it, they want to buy it, they want to see it over and over again, and they create a following behind the movie. That is what Star Wars created many years ago. And just because you're like, well, I'm going to completely change it, let's, like,
just make a new movie, dog. All right, we're going to enter this business and forget everything you know about what you've done to date entirely. Fuck the products, fuck the customers, fuck the team, fuck your organization, fuck the brand name, nothing. It doesn't matter. We're changing it all up. We're doing something. It's like, just start a new company. The company was already successful. Just let it fucking do what it does.
So that's where it's like, okay, well, and that's where you can step back, and if you're a sane individual, be like, all right,
same.
Let's just look at the results, right? We don't need.
Let's look at some facts, not feelings.
Yeah.
Let's look at some facts.
Well, that's even like the way that Disney's moving, the direction they're moving as well too. It's like they're just changing past movies and like remaking them. And it's like, or you just make a new movie.
Yeah.
You don't gotta ruin the old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, times change, people adapt, and it's no big deal. But like, you don't have to like try and rewrite history because maybe like somebody in the past was a little bit racist. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, things were bad for many, many years, dude. If you ever travel across the world, like when you go to Italy or you go to Greece or you go to Crete, these islands, all of the islands, I promise you, all have big fortresses blocking people from coming and stealing their fucking island. It's literally all we were doing for all of human existence. We were all a big mix of human beings, right? Like, nobody even in Colombia is 100% Colombian. They're mostly Spanish and Portuguese and, from fucking France. Like, we were just conquering everything, every time, everywhere, right? Like, there's no racism. It's just like tribalism.
And it was like, and people too, they forget that like, we do things because we want to. Like we just wanted to do it. It's like there is a natural urge. There's a natural urge for increase, right? And if you try to suppress that natural urge to take and to conquer and to grow and to expand, it's literally, you look at a tree, it's small and then it grows and it becomes bigger and then it plants roots and it shoots seeds off and then it gets more and it grows. It's in our biology for increase, and like people try to fight that nature, and they try to make it wrong and like try to like make sense of it, like why. It's like it's just who we are. This is just what we do.
And
Like,
if you ever go to like a forest, right, and it looks very calm, looks very peaceful, because we can't speak to the trees, we can't speak to the roots, we can't speak to all the little plants, all the animals, all the things, but like there's a lot of chaos that had to occur for all these trees to grow like that, right? There's a lot of things that had to die for this tree to grow that big. There's a lot of things that had to die for, you know, all these little plants to exist, right? So like, just because I know that's like, oh, they're all humans. Okay, well, like, this is human. We're all part of the same energy. You know, at the end of the day, it's kind of weird to think about, but it's like, no, like we're all trying to expand. Obviously, we're trying to expand in our consciousness, right? Which is, you know, deeper.
and I think this is a good segue back to the Star Wars thing. Like, if you think about conquering, right, and like rewriting history, why was history typically rewritten? It was to set a new frame, or to, you know, bring about a new ideology and to train a next generation on a new idea that someone had now imposed on a mind that was like, now they're trying to restructure, right? So like the urge for increase, so this individual has an ideology or a belief system that they believe that we want to now expand that out and to take more mental real estate in the game. Let's rewrite the history of this typically one side, like one version book or movie or whatever, rewrite that, and then now retain or control more of the mindset as you move forward, right? So like it does make sense, and I think that it's like, it's pretty obvious now to anyone who's been on the internet for any period of time that there's like these like diverging ideologies of like the masculine, the feminine, like the wokeism, the right side, whatever, these like diverging ideas. But in reality, like what we know is that they're two sides of the same coin. Eventually there's going to converge and realize that everyone is just looking for their own version of expression, and like some things work, some things don't. And at the end of the day, like we have our natural order, and as long as you just do what you love to do and you don't make it other people's fucking problem, like most people can just expand and grow like pretty easily, you know?
And without really, I mean, obviously there's always going to be people that will expand at the detriment of other people, which is, you know, not ideal. And I hope at some point, you know, power, you know, overcomes that, but that's another topic in itself. But like, you as an individual, if you weren't born into the Rothschilds or the, you know, Vanguards or whoever it may be, like, you can still grow, you can still expand, you can still live a full life without really having to feel as if you're less than, you know? And that's, I think, the main thing. As long as you don't feel less than somebody else, that's when like the suppression of emotions and, you know, like you now need to overpower somebody else.
It's butthurtism, bro. There's a bunch of people out here that are just butthurt that something didn't go their way when they were younger, and they're just like going on a tyrannical like fucking like crusade to like get this idea across, and at the detriment of like other people's well-being. And
it's a very insecure. It's such an insecure place.
You could see it like so clearly. It's like, dog, your butt hurt. Like let it go. Stop being so fucking butthurt.